A warm good evening to all of you. Welcome to an Academy's YouTube channel. Let's crack UPSC CSE English. I hope all of you are doing good and safe. So, as you know, we are doing a crash course on complete coverage of geography, where in which we will discuss every aspect of geography. And today we'll be discussing about air masses and temperate cyclones. So, this is about few lines about me. Nothing much, just a few lines. Myself, Venkatesh Shimani. Then, before we start today's session, yes, good evening to some of the people. Good evening, Prasad. Good evening, Nikhil. Good evening, Anirudh. Nishant. Good evening. So, a few lines about Unacademy. It's the largest learning platform available online for cracking UPSC CSE English. Largest learning platform. And once you get subscription to the learning app, once you download the Unacademy learning app and get subscription for UPSC CSE, what are the advantages you will get? You will get daily live classes where you can chat with the educator, engage in discussions, ask your doubts. So the kind of interaction which you have is quite high. You will get structured courses where the exam syllabus is in tune with the UPSC syllabus. And right now, this is an opportunity for people who are preparing for 2021-22. We are right now starting on May 25th. Exclusive batch courses. So this is the opportunity for you. Get into the subscription, enroll into batch courses, and have a complete preparation of entire UPSC syllabus in an organized fashion. Then you will get live tests and quizzes where in which you can evaluate your preparation, unlimited access for live and recorded courses, all these things available. Not just that, it is very cheap. So it is economical for you. Then all that you will not, once you get a subscription, you are getting subscription of not one course of one educator. You are getting a subscription, you will get access to all the courses launched by all top educators, where you will have courses being launched every regular, more or less regularly, in an academy subscription. And these are some of the few top educators you have. And this is the organization way, this is the way in which we have the courses aligned in UPSC syllabus, and you are having a batch courses right now which are dealing with it. Then once you coming to the subscription, you see there are so many range of options having 1 to 24 months, but we simply suggest you for 12 months and 24 months. There is a logic behind it. The logic is quite simple. It is how to complete the vast syllabus of UPSC for an aspirant. The syllabus is so vast, naturally it takes time to complete the entire syllabus. So minimum time which is a time frame which takes for an aspirant to clear the exam is at least around 12 to 16 months of preparation, and 1 year of at least 12 to 16 months, and 1 year of examination process. So totally it almost take 2 to 3 years for even a first time aspirant who has cleared the exam. So hence we suggest you to go for 12 and 24 months. Not just this, it is very economical, cost efficient. Compare this price with any other institute. It is very cost efficient. So that's what. And don't forget to use this code VE10. Don't forget this, where in which you will get around 10% discount. So your 40,000 will become 36,000, and once again when you apply this code VE10, 48,000 will become 43,200. So that's about subscription. So new people have joined. Yes, good evening Abha Pranjipi, good evening. So we will come to the sessions. So until now we have discussed about so many aspects of climatology in a chronological order. So in the last session we have discussed about jet streams, how they have an influence, And then we also have discussed about humidity and precipitation, rainfall, right? So all these concepts have been discussed in the last sessions. Now we will be discussing about a very important topic called air masses, and then over a period of time we will move towards cyclones. So first of all, what are air masses? As the name suggests, air mass, a mass of air. Simply we say air mass is nothing but mass of air. So what are air masses are? Air masses are a large volume of air in the atmosphere that is mostly uniform in temperature and moisture. Air mass, what is an air mass? An air mass is a large volume of air. You see, mass of air, large volume of air in the atmosphere that is mostly uniform in temperature and moisture. So normally you have pressure difference. You see, in simple way, if I wanted to tell you, normally you have unequal heating of the earth's surface. Because of the unequal heating of the earth's surface, that is, there is a temperature difference. So there is a temperature difference. Because of temperature difference, pressure differences are created, because of which winds start to blow. Winds, ocean currents in the oceans, they tend to blow. As they tend to blow, winds and ocean currents, what are these are called as? Regulating agents, right? They regulate the world climate. Now you see what happens. But there will be certain places where the unequal heating will be much more contrast. The unequal heating will be much more higher, and over a period of time what we actually face is uniform temperature conditions or uniform pressure conditions or uniform moisture conditions within the atmosphere. These uniform conditions over a period of time become bigger in size. As they become bigger in size, we cannot call them as winds, rather we call it as air masses. So what are air masses in a simple language, if I wanted to tell you, are nothing but huge wind systems or much more thicker wind systems. Thicker wind systems and huge wind systems, we can call it as air masses, just for understanding. You see here air mass. What is an air mass? It is a large volume of air in the atmosphere that is mostly uniform in temperature and moisture. So you take any kind of climatological criteria element, whether it is temperature, pressure, humidity, you tend to have uniformity across the entire air mass, which is more or less a bigger in size. And they can extend for, you see, thousands of kilometers, not even 1 kilometer, thousands of kilometers in any direction, north, south, east, west. And they can also reach from ground level to the stratosphere. You see, from the ground level to stratosphere, that means onwards around stratosphere means we are once again talking around 10-15 kilometers from the surface. They can reach that level. They say we are only they can reach. It's not every time they will reach, but they can reach. So what are air masses and where do they form? They form over large surfaces where temperature conditions and humidity are uniform. You see, if example in a certain place, if there is no uniformity of temperature and there is no uniformity of humidity, they will not form over there. You take coastal areas. Now, you take coastal areas, you take India. So if you take okay, the entire picture, okay. If you take the coastal area of our country, what happens here is this is land mass and this is water, and land unequal heating, water land and water heat differently, there is unequalness, and here you definitely will not have uniformity, right? But you take Delhi, particularly in a season, summer, winter. The surrounding regions of Delhi are also cooler, and over a period of time, cool uniform conditions, the temperature is more or less cool, or it is always less than 20 degrees centigrade for more or less throughout the entire winter. Am I right? Am I right? Okay. So similarly, across the globe, you find certain areas which we call it as source regions. What do you call them? Source regions. And these regions have uniformity of temperature and pressure and moisture. So you see this point? Air masses form over large surface with uniform temperatures and humidity called source regions. What are source regions? Where there is uniformity of temperature, automatically there will be uniformity of pressure, and sometimes there is also a chance of uniformity of humidity. It is not like they need to cater to everything, but more or less you find uniformity in temperature and moisture in every aspect. Why? If there is changes in the moisture, definitely everything will vary. If there is one moisture, if there is either dryness or if there is either wetness, then it will be more or less same. Otherwise, if there is no uniformity, that entire air mass will slowly start collapsing. So you simply understand, mass means here huge thickness of wind. Huge air masses where there is more or less uniform temperature conditions of the entire area, we call it as air masses. And where do they originate? They originate only in certain places where there are large surfaces with uniformity of temperature called source regions. And when these winds move over these air masses, they carry their weather conditions. Now you see, uniform temperature conditions, I told you. A uniform temperature conditions could be warm, that is heat, or it could be cool, that is coldness. So it could be warmness, it could be even coldness. And moisture, it could be dry, it could be wet. And as they move from one place to another places, they are also bringing their entire weather conditions along with it. So, for example, we will see this example in the best manner so that you will not have a fashion. Until now, am I clear, all of you? Please be participative. Don't be passive learners. Try to be active learners. So, until now, what are air masses? Whatever I have told you, is it clear? Are you able to sink those concepts? Are you able to digest? That is sink in? Is it in sinking in? Is it sinking? Come on, yaar, quickly. Good, good. Okay. So, when these air masses, you see this part, we call it as this part above India, we call this as Siberia. Siberia, the eastern part of Russia. And here, during winter, what happens? Now, this area is an extremely interior area. And the latitude is almost around 50-60 degrees. The surrounding regions, you don't have an ocean. Even the surrounding regions are of similar characteristics. What is that? Surrounding regions are also of similar characteristics. When the entire regions, surrounding regions is similar characteristic, what do happen? They develop uniform climatic conditions. Uniform conditions of temperature are developed. In fact, the word called continentality, extremes of climate, is derived from Siberia itself. And here temperatures in the winter might come down to even minus 40 degrees, minus 60 degrees also. So this entire region is a very, very cold region. Now what is the CP here suggests is C for continentality. Continentality means interiors. We have discussed as part of climatology that whenever there is an interior, in the interior regions, as you move away from the oceans, there will not be moderate of climate, there will be uniformity of climate which will be developed here. That is what you call continentality. You take the example of the climate, you take the example of Chennai and Delhi. Chennai and Delhi. Delhi, you will find always everything is extreme there. You have high temperature in the summer, you have cool, very much cold temperatures in winter. So the range of temperatures between summer and winter is quite high in Delhi, whereas in Chennai, you don't find much change. It is almost like every day it is summer towards the entire country, toward the entire year, right? So this is the difference between Chennai and Delhi. Why it is happening? Because Delhi is located in the interiors of our country. As it located in the interiors, you will not have the moderating influence of ocean. If you apply the same logic to Siberia, you see the surrounding area of Siberia, it is much far away from the interiors of the, it is much far away from entire ocean, and this is a huge landmass where there will be uniform temperature conditions of coolness in the winter. Particularly in the winter, the kind of temperature is more or less very cool, because of which you will find a huge area, this entire area almost it can range even thousands of kilometers. You will be having cold wind systems which are contracting. And what is the CP here suggest is, C stands for continentality, interiors. So when it is interiors, naturally what indicates? It indicates dryness. And P here stands for polar regions. So this is about air masses. So what are these languages here we are using? CP stands for, C for continentality, P for polar. MP, it stands for polar regions. M here stands for maritime. Now maritime means what? It indicates that moisture is there. So you will not find dryness, rather you will find wetness, moist conditions. You see CP, MP, CP, and you similarly you see CT. What is CT? T for tropical, continental tropical, that is in the interiors. Maritime tropical, that means it is warm and it is also moist. CT, C stands for continental. Continental usually indicates dryness. T for temperature, warmness. So hot winds, we have discussed winds like Sirocco. Sirocco wind systems, what are they? Nothing but dry warm winds. Similarly, when these dry warm winds becomes much more larger in size and much more uniform, we call them as air masses. What do they call? We call them as air masses. So this is what the air masses meaning is all about. So when winds move over air masses, they carry their weather conditions. Whether it is heat or cold, we just now you have seen it. Heat or cold indicates by T and P. Dry or moist. Dry usually indicated by continentality, interiors. Moist indicated by maritime. So maritime means ocean, and ocean more or less uniform conditions. Uniform conditions means definitely here there will be maritime air mass, which is where there is a chance of development. So this is what you mean by air mass. Now you see, just now I have told you, I can run forward here. Meteorologists identify air masses according to where they form over the earth. That means from what are their source regions from which they identify the air masses, source regions. And there are around 4 categories for air masses. What are the categories? It could be Arctic, tropical, polar, equatorial, anywhere. So Arctic air masses form in the Arctic region where are very cold. Tropical air masses form in low latitude areas and are moderately warm. Polar air masses take shape in high latitude regions and are cold. Equatorial air masses develop near the equator and are warm. You see, equatorial, definitely warm conditions. Polar, cold conditions. Tropical air masses form in low latitude areas. We know that only in tropical region itself means low latitude, and here temperature is more or less warm. So these are the facts about air masses, and some more facts. M for moist, C for continental, we have explained all these things. E for equatorial, tropical, monsoon, and all these things. Now that you have understood what are air masses, now what is the influence of it? Next level. So first thing, what are air masses? Next, what is its influence? Now that you have understood that these air masses can occur over thousands of kilometers and also even around until 10 kilometers of height. So until stratosphere. So stratosphere, it might range the height, and the tropopause line, it might vary, but roughly it can even go to. So that means what? An air mass spreads horizontally and also spreads vertically. So if this much huge area is having an air mass, now sometimes what happens, because of some climatological conditions, wind systems and all, they can make this air mass to move. Sir, how can you say air mass to move? You need to understand one aspect. The surface wind systems, they are always having friction. Whereas the upper atmosphere wind systems, that is tropospheric winds, they don't have friction and they move faster. This is why upper atmosphere is difficult to understand for meteorologists. There are always so much amount of ambiguity. The kind of confusions which are there in the upper atmosphere are quite high than at the surface wind systems. Okay. So these are the simple aspects which you need to remember. So when these air masses tend to start moving, for example, if this continental polar air mass starts moving as part of polar easterlies, what happens? It starts invading the mid-latitude areas. Now what happens? What is its characteristics? The continental polar air mass characteristics are dryness and coldness. These are its characteristics. Now as it moves towards, for example, here you are having Mongolia, Manchurian grasslands of China, and then into Korea, and then a bit even into Central Asia. So all the Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, all these countries, this air mass starts moving. So as it starts moving, what happens? It will have its influence on the temperature. So now that it is a cold air mass, it will convert the entire cold air mass. This influence will be there on the path regions also. Now path region will be subjected to extreme chilled cold conditions. Which will be developed. Now, is India facing these kind of things? No. Why? Because we are having Himalayas in this fashion, which are exactly obstructing them. Had there been no Himalayas, what happens? This air mass might penetrate into India's landmass and it can reach as far as even southern parts of our country. At least until Tropic of Cancer, it can reach. And slowly as it reaches, very slowly, it gets diluted. As it slowly gets diluted, then over a period of time, normalcy is restored. See, it is not like this continental polar air mass which starts from here can reach South Pole. Right? Once it starts, what happens? The air molecules of the air mass and the source regions and the path regions, they both start interacting. At one point of time, there will be dilution of continental polar air mass. As there is a dilution of dryness and coldness, slowly it starts disappearing. But it takes at least around 10-15 days to disappear, particularly if the air mass is very, very thick. Now for this 10-15 days, it will show its true colors. In this 10-15 days, whatever its nature is there, if that nature is cold, it will show the coldness to the path. If the nature is warmness, it will show warmness to the path. If the nature is moisture, it will have abundance rainfall. So whatever the nature of the polar air mass will be there, automatically that will be distributed on it. Okay, so this is the aspect of air masses. So they might ask you a simple question. They have asked this question in 2018 or 18 or 17, I don't remember. So in 2018 or 17 they asked this question for 15 marks. Discuss the concept of air mass and explain its role in macroclimatic changes. Explain its role in macroclimatic changes. So what is the concept of air mass? We have discussed. So write about this concept of air mass and explain its role in macroclimatic changes using an example. You take any one example and try to give the explanation. Now, Prasad, what is the query you have? As it extends vertically, there can be lapse rate, then uniformity in temperature and pressure may vary in the air mass. Your question is absolutely correct. There is a question, but the answer here is, we have already discussed in the first line that it has more or less uniform temperature and moisture conditions cut across huge area, either horizontally or vertically. So this entire region will be having uniformity of temperature. You take this example. If this is a country, imagine a country in exactly in this position, and in this area you are finding both at the surface and the upper atmosphere, you are finding uniform conditions. Only it has developed only here. It can't be developed the entire region from here to here. It is only for thousands of kilometers. It's not for lakhs of kilometers. And as it starts moving towards south, what happens? The air molecules here starts interacting with it. As it starts interacting, there will be dilution, and slowly it dissipates. But the time it takes to dissipate, it might take around good enough time, even 10 days sometimes, depending on the extent of the air masses. So like that, you have so many things. You see here, Himalayas are obstructing India. Himalayas are obstructing the cold Siberian air mass. Everyone might heard this word. Himalayas obstructing India, obstructing the air masses, that is the cold Siberian air mass. What is the significance of Himalayas? In every childhood, in every 10th class textbook, you will have this word. Himalayas are protecting India by obstructing the cold Siberian air mass from the north. But in America, here you see the same continental polar region, which is continental means dryness, polar means coldness. The same thing is there in America. Here, every winter season, you will be having something called blizzards. And these blizzards, as they travel from upper atmosphere, from the polar regions towards the areas, they can affect even. So this part here, this is the northeastern America. Here we will be having cities like Chicago, Detroit, New York. All these areas will be under the influence of these blizzards, and slowly as they come southwards, and slowly they starts disappearing. Not disappearance, dissipating. So as they dissipate over a period of time, normalcy is restored. Similarly, apply the same logic to this continental tropical. Now warm, hot regions. In India, we are having small wind system. In summer, we are having something called low winds. Right? What are these winds? Hot, dry winds. Imagine the same winds with much more intensity. Where you can find those kind of conditions? You will be finding those conditions well developed only in summer season in around Saharan desert. So in Saharan desert and Arabian desert, what do you find? In summer part, there will be warm dryness conditions are developed, and there in which you will develop a continental tropical air mass. Similarly, maritime tropical, there is a chance of developing here, and this one, as it moves towards the America, it gives huge amount of rainfall, and sometimes even tornadoes are also developed here. So as this maritime tropical starts moving into America, tornadoes will be developed in America, and this region is extremely known for tornadoes. Why they are formed? Because of their influence. So this is what I am trying to say. Geography is quite simple in the sense that temperature affects pressure, pressure affects winds, winds affects rainfall, and from rainfall you will be having the influence on agriculture, natural vegetation, all these things. But this complex relationship, this relationship is very simpler. It can be made complex provided if you link entire the earth atmosphere system. Here also the same complex. How there is sea continentality, dryness is well developed because you don't find any kind of rainfall here. How the polar air mass is particularly cold because there in winter season, particularly in winter season, there is no dilution of this, and slowly over a period of time huge areas will have similar characteristics, whereas you don't find the same here. In India, what happens? In India, what is the climate for India? Indian Meteorological Department identifies 4 seasons. But traditionally, we have 6 seasons. Why do we have 6 seasons? It indicates that for every 2 months, there is a change of elements of weather. So, this is about air masses. This is about air masses. So we have discussed about how the air masses influence a certain region and how there is having an impact over the entire regions over here. This is about air masses and all. I hope you have completely understood what are air masses and all. Right? So this is about the air masses. Discuss the concept of air mass and explain its role in macro climatic changes. So you can write about an answer on it. This is the question which is asked. I hope I am clear. Thank you very much for watching. So tomorrow we'll discuss about all the cyclones. So tomorrow we'll watch about cyclones. Before that, please like, comment, share about my video if you have liked it. Please comment about, like, comment, share about this video to as many people as possible. Share to as many people as possible. And thank you for watching. Hit the bell icon for notification. Subscribe to it. Please don't forget to use my code VE10, wherein which will be provided 10% discount on it. You will be provided 10% discount on the Unacademy subscription. Thank you very much for watching.